We got a creative financing fix and flip, and this is part 5. So if you guys haven't watched part 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're gonna want to watch those videos before watching this one. So this one is super exciting. This is going to be the last part of the whole series. Today I'm going to be going over how much we got paid and what led up to closing, so you guys are going to want to make sure you stay tuned for this whole video. But before we start, my name is Stephanie Kabidi, for those that don't know who I am, and I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm a realtor and real estate investor, just documenting my real estate investing journey here on YouTube. So if you guys want to stay tuned for what's to come on this whole journey, make sure you guys go subscribe, turn that bell button on so you guys never miss an upload. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Now, for the ones that have not been staying up to date with our creative financing novation fix and flip journey, let me get you guys up to speed a little bit. So we got this property and I cold called the seller. She picked up, she said yes, we actually were looking to sell. We were planning on buying this property, just buying it and then using hard money or private money to be able to do so. And then we were going to put it back on the market after doing some paint and stuff like that. So minor things, not a full-on fix and flip. But I talked it over with my mentor, Dom Summers, and he was like, why don't you guys just novate it? That's basically where you agree on a price with the seller. In this case, we agreed to $190. We work on it for a little bit and then we put it on the market, and the property stays in the seller's name, so we don't actually buy it. For short terms, this is basically a wholesale deal online. You're not selling it to typically a cash buyer, you're selling it to a retail buyer that's willing to pay more for the property. So that's what we did, and we got it under contract, like what I said, for $190. And then we ended up selling it for $244,900. So we got it under contract for that. We talked about the appraisal and everything like that, so if you guys missed out on that, make sure you guys go check out the other videos. But after the appraisal has happened, we fixed everything that needed to be fixed. With this being FHA buyer, we had to keep going back and forth to the property because the dehumidifiers, there's 2 in the basement, and me and Skylar live 45 minutes from the properties. Every 3 days, one of us would have to go up there just to dump the humidifiers until closing happened. Now, we finally got the closing disclosure, the Alta, and yes, they did push closing back, I want to say 2 times, but it was like 3 days before closing. It was my turn to go up to dump the humidifier. Drove 45 minutes, went up there to the property all by myself, down in the basement, making sure everything's all good. When I went up there, guys, the basement was flooded. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And I checked the dehumidifiers because sometimes they overflow, and I'm like, okay, it probably just overflowed. And because we waited a little bit more days instead of typically we go up every 3 days, and this probably was like the 4th day, so we were really pushing it. And I went up there, I checked the humidifier, and the humidifier was like half full. I mean, it wasn't even filled up to the top. If it was the humidifier, then the humidifier would have been filled up all the way to the top and leaking that way, but it wasn't that. So I'm like, no way, this flood isn't the humidifier. And mind you, that whole day that I was up there, it was raining like crazy, so much rain. So I'm like, no way, there can't be a leak. Like, this is a big deal, this is a good profit right here, and I don't want this whole deal to fall through just because now we have a huge leak we have to deal with. This is what happened. I called up Skylar, I was like, yo, we have a big problem. It's down here looking like a pool. We have no paper towels, so I have to go run out to Wise, which is like 5 minutes from there, and get all these paper towels. During this time, I had my real estate investing meetup. Couldn't stay long because I had to go speak at the meetup, and I was like, okay, I literally have no time to clean this up. Let me go to the meetup, then I'll come back and get this all situated because it's pretty bad. Now, fortunately, my parents came to the meetup. We wanted to make sure it wasn't like a huge leak, so my dad actually came over with me to the property and they helped me clean it up, but he also helped to see what the problem was, like what's going on with it. If he wasn't able to figure it out, then I would have asked my contractor as well to come out. Turns out he was able to figure it out. It was just the plug for the furnace. I didn't know furnace leak. I'm literally learning every day. I'm over here looking up, and it turns out a furnace can leak, and the pump was unplugged. I don't know like how it got unplugged. None of us ever unplugged it, but it was like literally like a tilt unplugged. So he over here plugged it back in. We cleaned up all the water. Skylar went there the next day to make sure everything was all good, and everything was fine. The furnace pump just stopped pumping the water to go through, and that's where the leaking came from of all the water. That was such a relief. We got all that situated, and the buyer had their final walkthrough. The final walkthrough went great. great. Then we closed on the property. For you guys that don't know about Novations, definitely hop on this because we probably would not have been able to make this profit without doing it this way as a Novation. If we would have went and bought it ourselves, put some work into it, and then put it back on the market, we would have paid so much money in interest. Our profit probably would have been half the size of what we got. So I'm gonna pull it up on my phone because I want to make sure you guys that have the exact numbers. It's funny because I actually post this on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check out stuff, sometimes I post it before I even post it on YouTube. Go follow me on Instagram at Stephanie Kabidi. But with that being said, the profit we made on this deal we were only in it for 2 months. We only worked on it for not even 7 days, 6 days, probably put around 4 grand into it, really 3 grand, and then paid the seller's mortgage the 1 month, which was $1,100. And the profit we made on this deal, $39,596. That was the amount of money wired into our account, and we didn't even go to closing. I told the title company, I was like, hey, can you wire this to our bank account so we don't have to deal with anything? Everything just all smooth as possible. And the seller, even at closing, the listing agent was like super thankful, super appreciative that you guys done this, because she was able to walk away with the number she wanted. We were able to walk away with a really good profit. The next day after closing, I called her up just to thank her for the opportunity. It's still great to have her as a contact. I told her, I said, hey, if you ever need anything, you let us know. We don't mind driving 45 minutes. And she said the same in return if we ever need anything to let her know. So super, super thankful. Great seller. Shout out to her. You know, just building good relationships. That's what it's about. Providing high quality service, just building those relationships, those connections, and get those referrals as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this whole series of our creative financing, Novation, fix and flip. And if you guys want to figure out and learn more about Novations, I did my first one. I also listed a couple for other investors that made $120,000 on one deal. So it's crazy how much you can make on Novations. But if you guys do want to learn more about real estate wholesaling, real estate Novations, click the link down below. You can join Flip Creators. It's a mentorship course that my mentor, Dom Summers, actually created to help you guys to make it super affordable. I told him, I was like, you can't be like making this like 2 grand. Like, people can't afford that. You got to make this super affordable for the ones out there is on the journey as I am. Because in the beginning, I could not afford like a 2K mentorship course. I reached out to him and I was like, you gotta do something. You gotta do something because I want to give back to you guys, want to help you guys out. So check out Flip Creators down below. With that being said, if you guys ever have any questions, let me know. If you guys have any video ideas that you want me to do, comment them down below. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.